What is this, meat Jenga? I wonder if I can knock a block out without toppling the tower. In this video, I need to answer the age-old question of, can I play Kingdom Come Deliverance without ever leaving the forests? You know Kingdom Come Deliverance, right? The medieval role-playing game set in the real world, where instead of being a demigod, chosen one savior, you're just Henry.
I'll be with you.
Henry, a simple peasant who is more skilled at hucking dung and checking out that medieval booty than he is at swinging a sword. Yeah, I thought so. I haven't played this game since I did my 140-hour hardcore playthrough back during the pandemic, but that playthrough has landed as one of my most favorite playthroughs of any game ever, and at the time of writing this, the sequel to Kingdom Come Deliverance is only a few weeks away, so I thought I'd step back into the original for a spell and just horse around for a few hours. The hardcore mode is an important mention as well, as it is critical for the experience I want to have. For those not in the know, the big difference that I loved in hardcore is a combination of not having an icon for your position appear on the world map, not having directions or waypoints appear in the compass, and not being able to fast travel to save your ass if you get lost. That playthrough left me with memories of a few moments of getting absolutely lost if I'd venture into the woods due to those differences. So that's the experience I had back in 2020 that I really want to lead into having with this experiment. I'll also be taking all the negative traits except for the one that causes sleepwalking, just because I don't want to wake up in a village when I'm only supposed to be living in the forest. I'll only mention the other traits if they have a notable impact. But with that, I spawned a new Henry in Skalitz.
Hey, Henry's come to see us.
And got to work getting through the introduction of the story. I wanted to start this journey immediately after the opening credits rolled when I was free to explore the map. A map, as you can see, has a lot of forest areas to explore. At this point in the game, my Henry is located at the Rattay Miller located here. For a small taste of what I was getting myself into, I first set out into the Rattay Woods, a short experience where my Henry broke his ankles chasing a rabbit, and then bled out alone and afraid in a small creek.
Ma! I'm hurt. You won't stop bleeding.
Oh, now, stop squealing like a baby.
But that was enough to know I needed a grand goal to work towards, so I thought it would be fun to see if Henry, starting with absolutely nothing except a few skill points he earned in Skalitz, if he could reach the ruins of Pribyslavitz in the north of the map. Yes, that sounds fun. But do I follow a leftish route, or do I follow a rightish route? How about neither? In order to make this a grand tour, my Henry will be entering the forest way up here and then have to circumvent the entire map to get to Pribyslavitz. So the first thing I needed to do was get to the top right corner of the map. Maybe not as easy as I had hoped. Oh, puppy! Can I pet the Oh, shit.
Over here!
Help!
Help! Here!
Help!
Help!
Yeah, help!
Damn it! Alarm!
Some psychopath punched a puppy! Help!
Come here quick! Alarm!
Guards, help!
Over here! Quick!
Don't let
Alarm!
him get away!
Help!
Somebody help!
Over here!
I'm gonna search this way for the puppy puncher. A hop, skip, and a few punches later, and I finally reached my forest entry point and dropped all my gear. All of my gear except for Bianca's ring. Because we're doing this for Bianca.
Look at you, lover boy.
Sort of a walkathon for Bianca. Bianca-thon, if you will. A Bianca-thon where we honor her memory by delivering her ring to the top floor of the Pribyslavitz church. And two last housekeeping points before I enter the woods. First, saving can only be done by drinking a savior schnapps or by finding a bed to sleep in. But not all beds work for saving. The bed must be deemed special enough to prompt with sleep and save instead of just sleep. So in order to save my progress, I either need to find some schnapps out in those forests, or locate one of these special sleep points. And secondly, I've wiped all the fog of the war off the world map because I don't want the fog's disappearance to aid me in figuring out my position on the map as I move around. But with that said, it is time to enter the forest!
I've gone far from home. I better get back before Sir Radzig sends out a search party.
Except, due to the force of Sir Radzig's will, I really couldn't enter the forest until I got all the way over here in the northeast corner of the map. Whatever, this is now my starting entry point. Say goodbye to the outside world, Henry. The first thing of interest that I found was an abundance of mushrooms growing alongside this creek, so I took some time picking them. I'm going to need to keep my Henry fed on this journey, and while the humble mushroom doesn't provide much nourishment, it at least provides some nourishment, and they are free and easy to acquire. Did you see that? There was a mushroom, and there it is. Oh, sacred floating mushrooms. Ugh! I didn't need to break my ankles trying to chase sacred floating mushrooms. So with land-based shrooms in hand, I set my focus on trying to answer a very important question. Can I punch a rabbit to death? The first two buns easily outmaneuvered my Henry and remained thoroughly unpunched. Hey guy, oh you fucker. Then I encountered a bunny that didn't seem to fear Henry's imposing presence. Time to get punched! Well shit, the outlook on meleeing a bunny doesn't look good so far. So at this point, I've been wandering around the Uzhitz Forest for about 20 minutes, and I swear I was already starting to see shit that wasn't there. I'd think I'd see a cabin off in the distance, and it wasn't a cabin, just forest. And I still have all of this forest left to go through. Oh boy. Then I spotted yet another thing in the distance that seemed different. But it was just a rock. A rock and some growling? I didn't remember there being wolves or other hostile animals in this game, so what gives? Oh my, it's an angry puppy! Wow, Henry, you certainly have a talent for punching puppies. Oh shit, angry owner. So at this point, I had convinced myself that within that bandit nest was a bed that I could use to sleep and save. So my first goal was to claim it for myself and set up my first home base that I could start grinding skills from. So I set out to throw my unleveled ass against those walls until I eventually got over it. Jesus, their acceleration is incredible. Wow. So thanks to the absolute beauty that is the Kingdom Come Deliverance hardcore mode, it only took me 20 minutes to find the bandits on the second attempt, but I had a plan. I would wait until night for all the humans to go to sleep, and then punch the shit out of that dog before smothering the men in their sleep. Let's go! Well, that didn't work. Not wanting to wander for 20 minutes before each bandit attempt, I set out to explore more and gain a feel for the landmarks of the forest to guide me to the camp, and maybe some resources. I discovered this dead horse to punch, and a dead man in a cave near my entry point. The weapons on him weren't lootable, except for the dagger, but that can only be used to stealth kill once Henry has level 5 stealth. But everything else he had on him was useful, so this would become the first stop on every attempt. I also found this hut nearby which didn't seem to have anything in it. And also a grave. Get digging, Henry! There might be a sword down there! Damn it. I need a spade. I got spun around and lost a few times doing this, but worked out that even if the north, south, east, west indicators were gone from the compass, orientation could still be determined by using the crazing patterns in the background texture. See, this little hump means south, so that was nice. And once I figured out the local geography, getting to the camp became a breeze. Run to the dead man in the cave and take all of his goods. From there I would just jump over the dead horse and head south until I hit this deer hole in the middle of the woods. Then through this particular gap from the deer hole, if I go straight south, I will hit the bandit camp. And just like that, it only takes about 3 minutes now to reach the camp. Let's claim it for our own, Henry!
Well now, look what's come crawling up!
So after 15 dead Henrys, I once again found myself at the little hut near my entry point. Something I kinda love about this game is you can't just hold down a button and have magic sight beyond sight to see all the lootables within a 2-mile radius. So when I discovered a lootable sack tucked away that I missed the first time I was here, I was excited, for in that sack... Oh my god, look what I fucking found. A bow that surely would be a game changer. Sure, I may be a little underleveled for it, but even a lowered effectiveness has to be better than no effectiveness, right? Let's go arrow some bandits. Well, let's just say that with 3 strength and 1 agility, the effectiveness of a dry fart loosened in the bandits' general direction would have been greater. Well, back to the grind.
What was that?
Call that combat! What's the matter? Come on! God!
Now having 21 dead Henrys under my belt, I ceded to the fact that taking this nest with just my fists was a little bit beyond my skill tier. I needed more gear, so I explored some more. In the basement of a ruined shack, I found a rage and stealth potion. Useful. In this hanged man, I found some more arrows. Not useful, as at the moment I can't draw that bow. And in this pool of water I found some moonshine, which can be useful as being a little drunk will grant bonus strength. But what I really needed was a weapon and any sort of armor. So I hatched a plan where I would patrol the roads that enter my forest to see if anyone would show up that I could borrow some gear from. Down along this road I found this man in brown having a casual stroll. He lent me his gear, which included an axe that only needed 1 strength to wield. Perfect! I put on his skin, his clothes, and said goodnight. Oh, that's a good chopper. Time to kill me some bandits.
Bring it on! You made a mistake getting on the wrong one. Hey! What are you playing at?
So on subsequent visits to the road, it was always the same man in brown with the same axe walking the same road. So I went and dubbed him Willie. But the thing about adding Willie's wares to my loop is that I'm now once again spending 15 to 20 minutes per run to get to the bandits. And whatever power increase Willie's axe and some slippers provided, it doesn't seem to be enough to get me over this obstacle. I needed to be thrown a bone. And no, this damned phase deer jump scaring me wasn't it. Swear to God that scared the shit out of me. That f***ing deer. But a bone was thrown, and my Henry caught it in his mouth and happily slobbered all over it. That bone was this campsite just a stone's throw away from my start point. A campsite that had one of those coveted sleep and save beds that I would be needing to do some tasteful grinding with less risk of losing my progress. So I moved the start of the adventure to this camp. And if you're sitting there going, well actually, that camp isn't in the woods, I don't give a farkle. This is my fun, and I've already spent 3 real-world nights trying to clear that damn camp at the cost of 26 dead Henrys. So this one time, I'm allowing it. There is nothing saying I have to stick around and clear out those bandits, but damn it, I'm stubborn. And right now, there's nothing more that my Henry wants than to see that off-brand Bill Murray-looking mother-father seen to his grave. So I needed to figure out how to grind some stats and skills while being confined to the Uzhitz Forest. And don't forget, one of the perks of hardcore mode really slows down the rate of skill gains. But also, as Pribyslavitz is a rather large bandit camp, I will be needing to acquire some skills and gear along the way if I hope to get this ring to the church. So my Henry got to work picking every damn plant he could get his little fingies on to raise his herbalism skill. After a few days, and nearly 500 pounds of plants picked later, my Henry reached level 10 herbalism. This let him take the Leg Day perk that will allow him to increase his strength stat via even more plant picking, albeit very slowly, as it seems like he is getting about 1 experience point per pick. I worked on the vitality stat by merely running around a lot, which was easy to do as every day I needed to travel the long distance from the camp to the road to meet and train stealth with my good friend Willie. But smothering Willie once per day was slow progress. But then I realized that if I knock him out and then just wait a little bit, he gets back up like nothing happened. This allowed me to grind even more stealth experience off him to really speed up this process. Alright, see ya again tomorrow. Same time, same place. What yoga pose is that? Did I kill him? Oh shit. Well, see you tomorrow, Willie. But tomorrow came and Willie wasn't there. Nor would Willie be there the next day or the next day. In fact, I never saw my friend Willie again. Which goes to show if you have a friend and all you ever do is take and take and take from that friend without giving anything back, don't be surprised if that friend just disappears from your life. But from a gameplay perspective, this really stunk as I was hoping to eventually start sparring lessons with Willie to help gain some weapon skills, but now that has been taken away from me. Needing to vent about this situation, my Henry once again started chasing rabbits. A fruitless effort in the past, but this time something different happened. And then again, I axed another bun. It seems that I just need to get them tangled in some bushes first. Now, axing rabbits gave me some of that sweet combat experience I was pining for, but they could only take 1 stroke of the axe. But this success got me thinking, what if I could do the same tangling, except with a deer? And boy howdy, could I get deer tangled up and then axe them in their stupid deer faces! Oh, this creek that runs near the deer hunting grounds was full of impassable bushes. So I just needed to drive the deer up and down that creek, and eventually they would get stuck, allowing me to grind that sweet combat skill off of them. Ho ho ho! Is this ASMR? With some modest stats and combat skills achieved, I took a sleep before beginning the second assault on the bandit nest. The first attempt I almost got the stealth drop on one before he cut my Henry into pieces, but I did notice the prompt for a stealth knockout appeared momentarily. I'm under the impression that stealth knockouts against armored opponents require the string scat, and I never saw the prompt during my first set of attempts, so this gave me hope. However, getting my ass handed to me by a bandit in pajamas did not grant me hope. After another handful of failed attempts, I went back to bed, this time waking up at 2 a.m. The goal being to make it to the bandit camp, and then having time to wait out the 2-hour stat penalty that the nightmare perk gives after sleep before the sun rises. Then maybe take them out while they are all still asleep.
Bring it on!
But this too wasn't enough. After that round of failures, it was back to punching deer for a while. Punching as I only had one axe that was starting to wear out. One axe as I somehow didn't have the foresight to save all the extras I looted from the infinite willies. But using my fists also meant that the deer were merely knocked out instead of dead. So I was able to use the waiting trick once again to maximize the number of punches per deer. And soon enough, I was up to 7 strength and 4 agility, with a +1 bonus to both by gaining the Savage perk. This was almost enough skill to use that bow I had found. And while I couldn't use it perfectly, I could at least now pull it back far enough to loose an arrow. So I grabbed the arrows from that hanged man once again, and I got back to work.
You'll get give up. I'm going to enjoy this.
Well now, look what's come crawling out from under some rock.
Oh my god! Finally, after 53 dead Henrys and 5 real-world evenings, I had claimed the bandit camp! Only to find out it isn't even a sleep and save point! I'm so glad I found that other camp. But that was finally done, and now my Henry had some armor, and an abundance of arrows, and swords! Swords of which I earned the first level with my stabbing of this rabbit that magically appeared in my campfire. But holy hell, that was a slog and a half! But this game is notorious for being very difficult at the early levels, so I'm expecting from here on out, nothing should be that ridiculous. So it's time to put the Uzhitz Forest behind me, and for Henry to continue his adventure towards Pribyslavitz. Moving south, my Henry arrived in the Talmberg Woods to the open arms of rain and lightning. My first order of business was to find a place to sleep so I wouldn't have to make that migration again if my Henry should fall. I quickly found a camp which had nary a single place to lay my head. Venturing forth, I stumbled across another grave that I couldn't crack open. And then I came across the local gamekeeper who thought I was up to no good, thought I was making trouble in his Talmberg Woods. I let him peep in my inventory, and lo and behold, he was too stupid to realize all the cooked meat I had on hand was poached. Haha, sucker! But luckily for me, his little gamekeeper hut had one of those sleep and save beds in it. Continuing south, I found this fellow who had been crushed under a tree. He looks a bit Polish to me. If I had to guess, I would say his name is Volodymyr. But my little crushed friend had no loot for me, so good riddance. Further south, I found another sleep and save camp along the larger road that leads out of the area and into the second game. I spent the night at this camp, and the following morning a wayfarer was passing by who I got 2 good stealth squeezes out of. Continuing into this little pocket of forest, I confirmed a suspicion that I had been having. Sir Radzig's sheer force of will was preventing Henry from reaching this tract of forest that would allow access to the Ratte Woods, so we're going to need to wind our way through the middle of the map.
Got bellyache, have you? That's nasty.
Once again crossing that main road, another traveler spotted me and thought I was pooping. Well, joke's on you, buddy. I'm practicing stealth. Continuing northwest along this creek, things started to get weird. At first, it was just this floating stick. I don't think sticks just floated about in medieval times, did they? But then I encountered floating rocks, and this was way too much sorcery, so I got out of there, only to stumble back into that gamekeeper.
What are you doing here?
He questioned me again, and this time my Henry thought maybe he should toy with him a bit and say he was hunting. Well, that resulted in a conflict.
You'll be thrown in jail for that, you bastard.
I checked how much it would take to bribe the man, and it was only like 40 groshens that I didn't need anyways, so I paid the man off.
Fine. You can go.
Thanks.
But you know what? I realized that was a really nice hat he has. His sword is an upgrade as well. So instead of just heading directly south, I went and kicked around in the forest close to Talmberg. I found yet another gravesite I couldn't dig up, and then rolled into a large camp kind of close to Talmberg. But since I had done no story progress, it wasn't yet full of humans. This camp had an easy difficulty locked chest in it, surely full of goodies for Henry, so I got to cracking it. Damn it. Damn it! Damn it! I broke all my lockpicks! Stupid box! While exploring the vicinity, I came across this man taking a stroll through the forest. So of course I got to work grinding some stealth on him. But oh boy, this man! This beautiful man! He let me practice for not 1 squeeze, not 2 squeezes, not even 5 squeezels, but for 11 stealthily squeezels! A session that got my stealth up to level 4.
What is he up?
Oh, I would have kept going, but it was getting dark, so for good measure, we finished up the session with some swordplay training. What? You think this makes me a monster? No! The real monster is whoever buried this person up to their chest and just left them out here to die in the woods. Hey buddy, this is my camp. What do you think you're doing? Huh? What the fuck? Just walking through my camp?
Have you lost that?
Well, I guess you're experienced now. Oh, you got a tummy ache? Oh, oh no. Again! Halasana! I made sure he was safe and sound in the campfire before I set off to find ingredients for dinner. What just happened? So with that disco bunny and some mushrooms I had foraged, I went back to the camp and made Henry's famous cozy campfire stew. Mmmmm. After this cooking session, I once again made my way south. Just across this river, I finally discovered some opposition in these woods in the form of cumins. Oh, hey guys, just dropping in. Well, you know that old Czech proverb that goes something like, if you see something, slay something?
Back trouble?
I think that's poorly translated, and I just made it up. But the thing Henry noticed during his past life is that this camp lacked those annoying dogs. So he thought if he started his raid at night, he could just walk up and smother them all in their sleep. What in the... Is this what Hungarian sleep culture is really like?
Come on. Up in trouble. Come say it.
Sir, I'm here to talk to you about your horse's extended warranty. A handful of dead Henrys later, and I had a run where I got the stealth drop on one of the cumins. Except I was not skilled enough to do anything stealthily against him. He noticed me and started to pursue me away from the light of their campfire into the impossibly dark forest. I could barely see what I was doing when I equipped my bow and got off what I thought was a half-drawn, flubbed arrow. But as I readied the bow again, ready to get cut down, the cumin was, dead? What? Let me slam that gamma and look at that again. Well, looks like I put that arrow right up the nostril and into his brain. I'll take it. I quickly looted that cumin for his armor before I went and poked the next cumin who gave chase, only to quickly get confused before seemingly running off into the night. I'll take it. This left the third cumin, who was completely oblivious to everything going on around him. So oblivious that I was able to creep up and put the squeezing training I've been working on to good use. Now, unlike those non-cumin bandits, this group had one of those coveted sleep and save beds. So Henry went to take a 3-hour nap. Except after 90 minutes, the yellow cumin returned and woke him up with his sword. Lacking the adequate skills to fight the man with an axe, I made some space and pulled out the bow, and it only took a single arrow to the heart to end the threat. Raiding this camp earned my Henry a new cumin core aesthetic and a new lockpick, so before I moved on, I headed back to that chest to crack it open. Damn it. Moving on, I hit a fork in the forest. I could take the quick route and snake around through here and approach Pribyslavitz from the south, or I could keep heading south and take the longer route along the edge of the map. So of course I'm gonna take the long route. I mean, just look at that big, sexy forest that is present to explore. So south I went, and in the south I came across a very big hill. And on the precipice of this hill is where I want to take a moment to show you something incredible. Are you ready? Are you really ready? Are you ready for 230 pieces of meat flying off a cliff? Woo! That wasn't nearly as neat as I was hoping it would have been. But whatever. I located a cave with a sleep and save bed in it and set up a glorious meat cairn to mark my territory. This was a nice place to save my game, as just a hop, skip, and a jump to the west, I stumbled onto another bandit camp. They were once again low-tier bandits without much armor, so I wanted to take them out with hand-to-hand combat to train some skills. But damn it, they were packing puppies again. And you know what? Puppies can go straight to hell. Well, not puppies in general, just these little stun lock machines that the bandits keep in their envoy. This game isn't high fantasy with wizards and magics, but I'll be damned if those dogs don't feel like they're casting crowd control spells on my Henry. Well, a multitude of attempts later, and I finally achieved an opening where I put an arrow into both of the puppies before the bandits noticed. Well, one bandit noticed. I defeated the first bandit in a 1v1 and moved up to the camp to grab the attention of the remaining two. Hello! Yoo-hoo! Jesus. Hey! Having finally grabbed their attention, I got to work beating them with my sharp stick. The second bandit was put to death in some bushes, and I found the third cowering for mercy. But my Henry wasn't feeling very merciful.
No surrender. We finish what we started.
I gathered up the bodies and looted the camp, which didn't really yield much aside from a few arrows and a buried treasure I can't access since I don't have a spade. But oh well, them and their stupid dogs were gone, and that made my Henry happy. And it was time to be moving on. Entering the Samopesh Woods, I found a grisly scene where a man had been hanged. And because I know you are wondering, no, I could not reach his little toesies with the tip of my sword. I stumbled across an herbalist in the forest.
Mother of God, you look like you've been assaulted.
I'd like to hone my skills.
And in her hut was an alchemy bench. Now, even though my Henry can't read yet and hasn't found any additional recipes, if I recall correctly, I could just look up the recipes and just do them to acquire a bunch of useful potions. But I'm not a wiener, so I'm not going to do that.
Maybe another time.
Exploring the vicinity, I found a poacher just as he was leaving his poacher camp. I tried to find him, but lost track of him in the woods. But back at the camp was a sleep and save bed, so I hung around for the night hoping he would come back so I could do some hugging practice on him. But he never showed up. Pity. This is also the first time I've ever completely run out of food, so I hunted a deer and collected some of its meat. The poacher camp didn't have a fire, so I returned to the herbalist to cook up my deer. Once my meat was cooked, I think Kunhuda made a pass at Henry.
Are you looking for something?
And you know what? Yes, my Henry was looking for something. Level 5 stealth was what he was looking for, and now he had found it. After moving her to the safety of her sleep spot, Henry once again set off to progress south. Shortly after entering the Sasau Woods, I reached a fork in the road. I chose the left fork, which merely took me to some tiny pine trees. Ish. But along the right fork, I hit pay dirt, a big open campsite with a sleep and save bed in it. Exploring the area a bit more, I came across a poacher's camp to the west, this time stocked with a poacher.
Hey, get out of here! There's no place for the likes of you!
He wanted me to leave, but buddy, that isn't happening, for I am going to use you to grind some defense.
Come on, you shit!
I let him beat on me with his stick for about 10 minutes or so, which earned me 2 additional ranks of defense. I then gave him a few thwacks with my sword to end the session and let him leave the scene. I mean, he's not a bandit, he's just trying to make a go of life in the forest like Henry is, and it's not like Henry isn't already poached the shit out of these forests, you know? Kindred spirits and all that. Progressing south towards the river crossing, I came across an empty mine with a goodie bag in it. A goodie bag with a new helmet for Henry and 3 savior schnapps. Nice. And a few moments later, while beating around the woods, I turned the corner and oh, a man in black. He didn't notice me, so I took the opportunity to pop one of those savior schnapps, expecting to have to duel that man a handful of times before. Oh, okay. There are 4 of them and a dog. On the second attempt, I thought maybe I could stealth kill the first bandit and started an end around to find an angle on him. This didn't work and Henry was quickly spotted.
Money! I want your money! Hand over all your coins!
But this time I was able to surrender before the bandits started bonking. Now money doesn't mean much in these forests, so sure, I handed over my coin to see what would happen. And what happened is they were happy with this outcome and just started walking away. Leaving their dog behind in the mine. How rude. There you go, boy. You won't have to deal with those shit heels anymore. I pressed on south to cross the river, but the river wasn't meant to be crossed at this location.
I can't go any further. The current could sweep me to my death.
So I looked for a crossing further north. This little crossing didn't have a good forest on the other side, and this little crossing had too much civilization on the other side. But this little crossing was just right. Once I had crossed the river, I needed to push south. The path on this side opened up into some definite not forest, so I was forced to climb the steep hill that ran between that path and Sasau. Halfway up, I stopped to enjoy a nice view of the river from this vantage point. But when I started struggling to climb the hill, I managed to rocket jump somehow, which resulted in the longest ragdoll I think I've ever experienced in this game. What the fuck? I just keep sliding. Oh my god. Well, I made the climb on the second attempt and reached the top near Vranik. There I met a man wandering who helped me train a little bit of sword experience. But I may have poked him a little too hard because, he died. Oh. But after I took his pretzel, I thought I'd do something funny and slide his corpse down the hill, hoping it would roll all the way to Sasau. I lost sight of the corpse and went to see if I could spot it, but, instead managed to fall myself, adding one more meat bag to the corpse avalanche of Sasau. On the next loop, I met the same man at the top of the hill. But this time he forced my hand to train some vitality instead by making me chase him through the woods.
Dear God.
Exploring the cliffside of the Vranik Woods, I found a poacher's camp without a poacher, but it had a sleep and save point, so that camp ended up becoming my base of operations as I made sorties out into the large expanse of woods in the southwest corner of the map. The first of these sorties had me encounter a man in a straw hat. I offered to train with him, but he didn't seem to want to have any part of that. But as I was chasing him through the woods, trying to wring any experience out of him as I could, he ended up leading me to a cabin in the woods. I could see a man walking around the cabin, so I used another savior schnapps before approaching to see if the man was friendly.
Oh, the answer to my prayers. Just when I wanted to vent my rage on someone.
Who's there?
He, in fact, was not friendly. Now, these bandits were very well armed and didn't seem interested in playing the game where I give them some money and then stealth kill all them as they walk away. So I figured that much like the Rave Cumans, this was going to be a battle of hoping to get some lucky arrows into their faces.
Bring it on!
Oh, so close.
Well, I the pig turns up willingly for the slaughter.
See? Just like that. Easy peasy. So easy peasy that it took another 20 dead Henrys before I finally got a perfect run. One into the puppy, one stealth kill to this bandit, and then one more arrow into the second bandit's mouth hole. And then...
You'll get one. Is that all you got?
10 arrows into the tank. Easy peasy. I moved their bodies to a centralized distribution hub and got to work assembling a new kit of armor for my Henry. Sir.
Huh?
Sir. 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 Sir! 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 Sir? I wandered across the chicken cart that had overturned, and there were chickens everywhere! Well, I guess if I don't do something about this situation, then no one else will. Sir? 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 I opened a random sack that I found, and inside was the best sword I'd come across on this entire adventure. But my Henry still had a pitiful sword skill of 2. So when I discovered a boar hunting spot, and realized that it was once again close to a creek, well, I think you can guess what I did next. Did I just stomp a rabbit? Ah! What is this, meat Jenga? I wonder if I can knock a block out without toppling the tower. Finally, after days of butchering boars, Henry finally achieved the goal of sculpting a perfect likeness of a plesiosaurus using nothing but boar meat. And he got up to level 5 in sword skill. And then he picked some sage and hit the 11 strength needed to wield his new sword properly. Well, at least so long as the Savage perk is active. But 11 glorious strength points, which is enough to permit Henry to just palm a cabbage like it's nothing. I had decided I had enough fun in the Vranik Woods, and started moving on to points north, but not before finding yet another overturned chicken cart. Why is this such an issue for the chicken cart drivers of Bohemia? Whatever. My Henry isn't greedy, so he left most of the chickens intact so that someone else can have some fun with them. Continuing on, I stumbled onto a graveyard. Except in this graveyard, someone had forgotten their spade. Curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to backtrack to the Uzhitz Forest to find out what was in that grave that could have helped me with that very first bandit nest. I didn't make it far before some very overzealous and under-equipped bandits came at me. After putting them both to the sword, I did what any good Christian would do in this situation. Took their beer and fed their bodies to the Okay, that was the funniest thing that ever happened to me in a video game. Hands down. But as soon as the feathers settled, I was back on the road and back at that grave. Alrighty, time to see what kind of god-slaying Omega weapon is waiting for my Henry in this grave. What the beep? It's just a man on a horse head. And the only thing to loot is some fresh horse meat. Well, shit. But hey, while grinding those boars, I'd unlocked the steak tartare perk that lets me just eat raw meat. So damn it, I traveled too damn far to not have a little taste as a treat. But the entire trip wasn't a bust. I stopped at all the other graves I had found and dug them up as well. This netted me 2 Dollmaker potions, 1 Bane potion, and 1 Aqua Vitalis potion. Night fell as I was returning to the Vranik Woods, and I'll admit that I did get a little bit lost in the darkness, until I randomly encountered this fallen tree with some white fabric hanging off it. I recalled that the first time I came through this area, that there was a bed tucked away next to its roots, so I took a nap until it was light again. I made it back to my poacher's camp, and wouldn't you know it, some random ass poacher was trying to claim it for his own.
Hey, get out of here! This is no place for the likes of you!
I showed him who's who and sent him off on his merry way before I too took my leave of the camp to press north.
Alright, I'll let you go.
I understand. God be with you! Gone weak at the knees!
After clearing out those petty bandits, I pressed on and found another camp with some pretzels. Pretzels and a cache of potions to add to my collection. I spent the night at that camp and continued north the next morning. Returning to the Sasau Woods, I continued to move north along some very steep terrain. I found some more ruins with a locked chest that I had absolutely no hope of ever opening. And then I came across a poacher's cave, this time complete with a poacher.
Be gone from here!
No, f*** you!
Ow!
I knocked him down and slid him down the hill and out of my... and slid him down the hill and out of my life. I took a quick nap in his sleep and save bed and...
I warned you!
You warn me? Progressing north was just more steep hills and abandoned buildings, like this farm with a spooky skeleton trapped underneath it. Ooh. And this abandoned hut that was absolutely surrounded by mushrooms. So many mushrooms. So many mushrooms. But alas, I found myself once again needing to cross a river. The main road was too open for my taste, so I rushed into the trees to the right and worked my way up the hill. Reaching the top of the hill, I discovered another bandit camp. A bandit camp with 4 well-armed and well-armored bandits. I made numerous attempts trying to lure them out one by one, but they would all get alerted and gang up on me and beat the shit out of poor Henry. And if I ever used stealth and actually got close enough to one, I wasn't even able to put the squeeze on them. I tried dollmaker poisons and failed. I tried the Bane poison and failed. I tried the old shoot him in the eye trick and failed. All these attempts added up to 17 more dead Henrys before I thought I would try using the Nighthawk potion and try to take them out at night.
Rivers of blood on a bloody flood.
Hey, who's there? What's going on there? Hey, what have we got here? Entertainment.
After finally landing 2 arrows to the faces, I was only left with 2 bald fuckers wearing only their skivvies to deal with. I found some dead bodies on the cliff face the next morning and fell off the cliff trying to loot them. But luckily, I landed in some bushes that didn't kill me. But once I escaped the bushes, I was stuck out in the open. Oh my god, the open! It burns, it burns, it burns, it burns, it burns! Run, Henry! Get back into the forest where it's safe! The first thing of interest that I found in the Skalitz Woods was this hut. It seemed unoccupied, so I picked a nice mushroom I saw. Jesus Christ! Only to be jump scared by the local gamekeeper. Some bitch just earned himself a session as my defense sparring partner. I let him beat his stupid little axe hopelessly against my shield for a while. But then that a-hole was all, I'm gonna use a bow instead, and got a few hits in on Henry. The audacity!
Stop, I beg you! I yield!
I was kind of hoping for more from the Skalitz Woods, but as I worked my way towards the lake at the north of the map, I really didn't find much of anything, aside from a few nice vantage points to look out at the ruins of Skalitz. The best I found aside from that was this dead horse to jump over, but more concerning was I hadn't yet found a sleeper save point. I reached the lake and was sad to see that I couldn't actually reach the lake. I really wanted to look at it! So I continued east. And eventually found a well-hidden poacher's cave that gave me a bed. A bed right in the backyard of Pribyslavitz. So here we are at the end of this journey. I wasn't sure if I had enough skills yet to even dream about taking Pribyslavitz, but making an attempt was the best way to find out, I guess. At the front entrance stood a single guard. I got his attention and lured him far enough away that the savage perk would kick back in. Managing a single opponent seemed within my skill set at the time, so I equipped the weakest sword I had and sparred with the man for nearly 11 minutes. When I finally killed the man, I discovered that the crazy fool was packing 13 swords. Why? Why? But those 11 minutes earned my Henry a rank of agility, warfare, and defense. Although this was only rank 3 in defense, so I'm not sure how useful it'll be without further grinding. But that session left my Henry battered, so he retreated to his cave to sleep the pain away. The next morning, I stumbled onto a new camp that was close enough to Pribyslavitz that Henry could practically piss on it. Returning to the front gate, I was very displeased to see that 3 guards had taken 13 sword boys' post. Three guards to me felt like it was time to bust out that bane poison and... Damn it, Henry! You weren't supposed to drink it! God. 5 more dead Henrys fell to this cluster of guards at the gate, and it always seemed to be the dick nose in his kettle helm who was the biggest nuisance. But eventually I had an attempt where only 2 of the bandits came out to play, and I was finally able to get the best of Sir Dick Nose.
I'm in no mood for talk. You're dead. Bastard!
Only to learn that one of them was carrying nearly 900 arrows in their quiver. What the hell? I rested again and returned the next day, only to find more guards at the post. I remembered once seeing someone else put on a full set of Cuman armor just walking past them, so I hunted a rascally Cuman and stole his armor to try this subterfuge for myself.
Well, now, this was just
But that totally didn't work for me. I had to have a come to Jesus moment at this point. There was another tank at the gate, and I just wasn't confident that I had enough hand-to-hand combat skills to win that fight. And did I really want to grind for another dozen hours to get those skills? I also wasn't sure if the bandits I killed weren't respawning every time I took a nap or not, so leading them out 2 at a time might just drag on for all infinity. And even if I was slowly chipping away at them, save scumming my way through the entire camp didn't sound like much fun. I could have possibly waited until night and stealthed my way in, but damn it, I don't want to make you sit through a bunch of impossibly dark footage for my coup de grace. I hate watching dark footage just as much as the rest of you, so it was settled. I was going to steamroll this entire camp in one go during the day. And I was going to do so by filling those fuckers up with arrows. And this time, I'm not going to make the gamer mistake I've been making my entire life, where I save my buff potions for later, and then never use them later. Drink that buff potion, Henry. Oh, Jesus Christ. That was the poison again. Ugh. Not making that mistake again. It was time to end this and get that ring to the top of the church. Now this motherfather right here, this tank, I've had numerous 20-minute assaults on Pribyslavitz where I killed every asshole left in this camp except for him, and then this tank just runs Henry down and bonks him on the head until Henry's dead. Oh, but not this time. I'm abusing pathfinding and dollmaker poison arrows and jumping and agility to beat this tank's fat fucking gagabada. That's right. You run, peasant!
Hey, what have we got? Messerach.
Нічого, не буду. Не буде того.
I did it! 144 dead Henrys later, and everything in the camp is dead. Let's get this ring to the church. And with that, I dropped Bianca's ring on the floor, along with the 5 sacred cabbage. The mission was over, but my Henry faced one final choice. His slaughter of the camp below left him with a trove of lockpicks, and at the back of the church was a locked box. He was yet to unlock a box on this adventure, so I can leave knowing that he heroically honored Bianca, or he can use those lockpicks to take what's in that box.
The box! Let's see what's in the box! Nothing! Absolutely nothing! Stupid! You're so stupid!
Oh, what a story that was. According to the game, I spent 34 hours in the forest, but with the time lost from the 144 dead Henrys, I suspect upwards to another 10 might be the more true number. And do you know what? I had an absolute blast the entire time! So if you've made it here and haven't smashed that like button yet, WTF, bro? And if you've learned from this that you need more suffering at the hands of early game overpowered bandits, you might really enjoy this medieval dynasty video I made in 2023. A tasty snack at only a mere 40 minutes long. Otherwise, go to hell. I mean, just kidding. Otherwise, here is something else you might like. Please consume.